Every morning, you wake up believing you're making choices. You pick your clothes, your breakfast, your route to work. You vote in elections between different candidates. You select from thousands of entertainment options. But what if all these choices are just different paths leading to the same destination? Today, we're diving deep into the greatest illusion of our time, the myth of freedom in a controlled society. Have you ever noticed how political campaigns focus on superficial differences while fundamental policies remain unchanged? How the faces in power change, but wars continue, wealth keeps concentrating upward, and corporations gain more influence regardless of who's in office. This isn't coincidence. The 20th century philosopher Herbert Marcuse called this repressive tolerance, the illusion of choice that serves to stabilize the system rather than challenge it. You can choose between hundreds of breakfast cereals, but try choosing not to participate in capitalism. You can criticize politicians, but try changing the structures that produce them. Think about democracy as practiced today. You get to vote every few years for pre-selected candidates who've been vetted by party establishments and funded by the same corporate interests. Then you're told this momentary action represents your voice in government. As Emma Goldman sharply observed, if voting changed anything, they'd make it illegal. Consider this. In 2014, researchers from Princeton University analyzed 1,779 policy issues, comparing public opinion with actual policy outcomes. Their conclusion? Ordinary citizens have near zero impact on public policy. Economic elites and business interest groups, however, showed substantial influence. Your vote isn't worthless. It's worth exactly what it costs to create the illusion of choice. But here's where it gets truly insidious. The system doesn't just control your options, it shapes your desires. You think you freely want that new phone, that promotion, that vacation package. But have you ever questioned why you want what you want? Who planted those desires? Who benefits from them? The French philosopher Michel Foucault understood this when he wrote about modern power. The perfect disciplinary apparatus would make it possible for a single gaze to see everything constantly. Sound familiar? Your phone tracks your location. Your searches record your interests. Your social media maps your relationships. But the real genius, you paid for these surveillance devices yourself. You carry them willingly. There's a reason why the most effective propaganda doesn't feel like propaganda. As media theorist Marshall McLuhan noted, the medium is the message. The format of information shapes its impact more than its content. Rapid cuts, constant novelty, endless streaming, these don't just deliver messages, they rewire your neural pathways to crave distraction over depth. Ask yourself, why does everything from news to entertainment come in bite-sized, easily digestible pieces? Why is nuance replaced with outrage? Because critical thinking requires time and space, precisely what modern media eliminates. A population that can't sustain attention becomes incapable of recognizing its own manipulation. The ancient Greeks had a concept called doxa, the common opinion or belief that feels so natural we don't even question it. Today's doxa includes beliefs like hard work always leads to success or consumption equals happiness. These aren't universal truths, they're narratives that benefit specific power structures. Have you noticed how the language of freedom has been weaponized? Right to work, laws that undermine labor protections. Freedom of choice in healthcare, that means freedom to go bankrupt from medical bills. Free markets that are heavily subsidized and protected for the wealthy. George Orwell warned us about this in 1984. When language is corrupted, thought itself becomes impossible. Let's talk about the illusion of individualism. You're told constantly that you're unique, special, one of a kind. Yet, you're measured by standardized tests, evaluated by generic metrics, and sorted into predetermined categories. True individuality would be threatening to systems that require predictability. What's encouraged isn't individuality, but personalized consumption, the illusion of uniqueness through purchasing decisions. The philosopher Slavoj Žižek points out that modern ideology doesn't operate by forbidding things, but by commanding enjoyment. You're not told you must work, but rather love what you do, not obey authority, but be your authentic self. The most effective control doesn't feel like control at all. It feels like self-expression. Consider how rebellion itself has been commodified. You can buy pre-ripped jeans and mass-produced Che Guevara t-shirts. Corporate brands sponsor counterculture events. Dissent is packaged, branded, and sold back to you. As the band Rage Against the Machine ironically became a profitable product of Sony Music. In 1930, the economist John Maynard Keynes predicted that by now, we'd be working 15-hour weeks due to technological advancement. Instead, we work longer hours than ever. Why? Because leisure is dangerous to consumption-based control. Free time might lead to reflection, to connection, to organizing, to questioning. Better to keep you exhausted, in debt, and scrolling mindlessly through social media. Think about how we define success. Is it wisdom, compassion, community contribution? No, it's individual wealth accumulation and status. This definition isn't natural, it's curated. A society that defined success as minimal environmental impact or maximum social connection would produce entirely different behaviors. By controlling the definition of success, the system controls your life's direction without ever giving a direct command. The philosopher Noam Chomsky noted that propaganda is to democracy what violence is to dictatorship. Physical force is inefficient. Far better to have people police themselves through internalized norms and desires. The truly brilliant prison has no guards. The prisoners keep themselves in line. Here's something they don't teach in economics class: the concept of manufactured scarcity. There are enough resources for everyone's needs, but artificial scarcity creates competition, justifies inequality, and keeps you anxious about your position. You don't fight the system when you're too busy fighting others for what appears to be limited resources. Consider social media, platforms supposedly about connection that profit from your isolation and insecurity. They're designed to trigger dopamine hits that keep you engaged while simultaneously making you feel inadequate. This isn't a side effect, it's the business model. Your unhappiness is marketable. Your attention is the product. The smart way to keep people passive and obedient, wrote Chomsky, is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but allow very lively debate within that spectrum. Notice how mainstream discussions allow vigorous disagreement about how to address problems, but rarely question whether the problems themselves are symptoms of deeper systemic issues. We live in what philosopher Guy Debord called the society of the spectacle, where authentic social life has been replaced with its representation. Politics becomes theater. Community becomes networking. Love becomes a dating app algorithm. Reality itself is mediated through screens and systems designed to extract value from your attention. The ancient parable of Plato's cave describes prisoners who mistake shadows on a wall for reality. What are today's shadows? Corporate news, social media feeds, political theater? The prisoners weren't just physically chained, they couldn't imagine any reality beyond their shadows. Sound familiar? So, what's the solution? First, recognize the cage. Question your choices. Ask who benefits from the options presented to you. Examine the invisible assumptions that shape your desires. Real freedom isn't choosing between pre-approved options. It's the ability to participate in creating the options. As the philosopher Hannah Arendt wrote, the most radical revolutionary will become a conservative the day after the revolution. True freedom isn't a destination. It's a constant practice of questioning, connecting, and creating alternatives to the systems that would contain us. The most dangerous person to a system of control isn't the one who breaks its rules, but the one who reveals its game. Now you see it. The question is, what will you do with that vision? The choice, perhaps the first real one, is yours. Thanks for watching.